Two speakers are Joe Nesbitt and Bryan Fonville. They're here to share ideas and answer questions on how any bank can use the new media to make its store unique and appealing to a broad range of customers. So it's my pleasure to introduce our two guest speakers today.
Is this good?
The two bald guys together?
Yeah. You got to team up on them.
Blair, right, exactly.
Waco is probably like a lot of the communities you guys live in, and it's dominated by the local independent banks, which is a great thing. And we get along really well with our competitors, but it does get old, constantly being mistaken. I don't wear a name tag. That's kind of not our culture. We don't wear name tags. If people don't know who I am and what bank I work at, then I'm not doing my job, and that is to meet people and hopefully drive good business to the bank. So we kind of came up with some videos that we were hoping would differentiate ourselves from competition.
I think that's a good segue if we want to show the first video.
Yeah, let's show that first video then.
And so while you're at work this Monday, us bankers will be doing our best to keep the putt-putt courses and movie theaters and bowling alleys in business as we sit around and thank ourselves for being awesome. So happy Banker Appreciation Day. I mean, happy President's Day.
So I think everybody got to say, I probably said self-deprecating 7 different times in my introductory remarks, but I thought, it was the right term. So this was the first one made.
It was actually the second one. So a lot of people wonder how we got started. Like,
Yeah.
How did you decide to do a video about bank holidays? And Joe kind of suggested that we do kind of feel like we lucked into it a little bit. The previous spring, a lot of companies use April Fool's Day to be funny for like the one time of the year that they choose to be funny. And I remember seeing, I wouldn't even really recommend going and watching it, but Google that year did a kind of a video parody of Gmail. They released this revolutionary feature of Gmail. It's got employees talking about moonshot thinking and how transformative this was going to be. And over the course of the video, you realize that really all they did was they made Gmail blue. Like, they changed the font to blue. They changed all the tabs to blue. And so it wasn't like necessarily laugh out loud but funny, but as I was watching that, I was thinking, I think we could totally pull off something like that, where we're talking, and Joe kind of fits that character well when he does those things, talking about these grand things that are not actually, and making fun of ourselves. And so that's really how they came about. I called Joe, after I saw that Google video, I was kind of thinking, what can we make fun of? Bank holidays naturally came to mind. And Columbus Day rolled around in the spring, and I finally worked up the courage to call Joe and be like, I have an idea, but I think it's pretty stupid. And I kind of pitched it to him, and he said, well, dude, let's film that. I said, do you think we should run it by, before? No, let's just film it. We'll show it to, we have a marketing committee that makes decisions, and if they like it, then great, we'll release it, and if not, you and I have a funny video to laugh at.
That was one of my questions to you guys, and your answer was a good one. I said, what did your board think about this before you did it? Because, not all bank boards it's not the most progressive bunch, right? Bank directors. And you guys said you just kind of did it, talked about it with some marketing specialists within the bank. And then what happens with the video? You created this thing, it looked good, it wasn't going to present any reputational risk or anything like that. Goes on the bank's website, is that accurate? Or walk us through how you utilize, you've got the product now, what do you do with it?
Well, I got to start first. We thought 50 people were going to see the video. We grossly underestimated how far it would go. But yeah, so the first one we did, we just kind of threw it on Facebook, and I don't even think we spent $1 promoting that post, and just mostly because we were fearful of what was going to happen once we posted it. And we started seeing like all the positive comments come in, and that's when Joe and I remember we had like a phone call, and we were like, I think we might, we're on to something. I don't know what we're on to, but...
Well, I was scared to death. I was telling Pete earlier that, my phone started ringing, and I thought, oh my God, man, I'm embarrassed. This is bad. This is bad. And I didn't even want to listen to the message. Kind of like bad mail, you don't want to, oh man, and then people were saying, that is the funniest stuff I've ever, and I think it just catches people off guard because it's a bank, and it's not supposed to be funny.
So I shared with you guys that, is it time for another video? What do you think?
Sure.
Take a look at Sports Center.
What are we
See
looking
that
at?
one?
So, should I set this one up?
Yeah.
Okay, so part of what we do, and part of what I think like that President's Day video works, is we try to find ways to, with a lot of our social media, to kind of inject ourselves into a conversation that's already going on. Like with President's Day or Columbus Day, like a lot of people, I don't know if you've ever sat at your bank on President's Day, probably not because you're out bowling or something. But if you did, I imagine you would see people coming up to the doors of the bank or pulling into the drive-through, and sitting there for like 5 minutes. It says they're open, but they're not.
Or getting a call on your cell phone, like, I called the bank and nobody's answering the phone.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're closed, federal holiday.
Right.
So this fall, we're in Waco, Texas, which is the home of Baylor University, and so there was a lot of talk about college football playoff rankings. And so that was kind of going on in the fall, and we were kind of thinking, how do we find a way to make that a part of our marketing? And so that's how this next video came about.
Well, on that note, we're going to conclude this week's show. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, a lot can change between now and the end of the year. Like everything, because these rankings mean nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Pretty much.
Hey, but Peggy Kello.
Yeah.
come
Hey,
on,
guys,
buddy.
this is ridiculous. Oh, gosh.
So a few questions. Were those actual employees at the bank?
So 5 of the 6 are actual employees. Taylor Davis does not work at the bank, but I needed a name that rhymed with Baylor.
Right.
And so we took a stock photo and made Taylor Davis.
And everybody, I mean, it's good stuff. Nobody got out of sorts or anything with the videos.
Well, we cleared it with Peggy Kello. Was one that comes to mind.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah. Peggy is really. I mean, she is. She's our receptionist. You could see that, and she does a fantastic job. She's got a great sense of humor, and she completely bought in, and so did
Wonderful.
Caitlin Remsen, and
Yeah,
there was
great.
some HR violations, but we were all right.
So now this one looked much more kind of professionally done. Can you tell us about the making of the videos and this one in particular?
So all the ones that we typically do, we shoot and edit ourselves. Obviously that one we don't have a TV studio like that at the bank. If we did, our customers would wonder what our priorities were. And Joe can kind of talk about this, but we're not really promoting ourselves in the videos, and so people tend to lend themselves more as a resource when they know that they're not appearing really in an advertisement.
Kind of tying into our theme this morning about making it about the customer and not really about the bank, I think, the interesting connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I think that TV station, which is the ABC affiliate, and we pitched them this idea. We said, your sports dude can be in it, so that the guy that was serving as the anchor was actually the sports guy for that news station. They said, we'll film it, we'll edit it. It was just kind of that, I think they saw benefit in being associated with it.
It has translated into a growing, loyal customer base.
Wonderful.
That kind of came by it naturally. It wasn't from a phone call that I placed, hey, you want to do banking with me? Like everybody else is calling them all the time. It was their decision to come to us, which is...
So did you feel like you had to grow the beard so people wouldn't recognize you on the street? Or was it just,
No, I like to grow beards during the summer when it's nice,
When it's
nice and hot.
Good,
Yeah,
Good.
it really helps.
Good. Excellent. So how many videos are there altogether?
In terms of funny videos, I think we may have like 5 that Joe and I are in. We do, and this I think is probably a good point to mention. I've talked to several people and they're like, I like what you guys are doing, but I'm not funny. Or I would love to do this at my bank, but we're not funny.
Right.
And that's all right. We have videos that are how-to explainer videos on how to, set up online banking and deposit your mobile deposit check.
Right.
Where, I wouldn't say that they're funny, but the employee of the bank that's explaining the topic just does it in their normal personality. Don't go find the most boring person at your bank, but be yourself on camera. You don't have to be hilarious.
Yep.
And just that in and of itself, I think humanizes you to where, people, not only do they walk into the bank and they say, oh, that's so-and-so that was in the video where I watched,
I've said self-deprecating a bunch of times. Humanize is another good word for the feel
Absolutely.
of all the videos. I think it's
Yeah.
For a space banking that can be a little stuffy and stodgy traditionally. I think it's very effective. Very effective.
Absolutely.
I could add to that. One thing we really try to stay away from is doing things that we think are funny. That we think it's an inside joke kind of stuff. That guy's in the credit department, so he's really funny. Let's get him on the video. Well, the reason why we think he's funny is because every day he's making jokes in the break room or whatever. I'm using a random example here, but we try to make sure that what we're talking about is something that other people are going to think
more universal.
Yeah, more universally funny. And if you go online and look at some other bank videos, I hate to be critical, but that's easy to fall into that trap. And we're also not afraid to get rid of a video. You got to be.
That resonated with me when we spoke on the conference call. I think we've got a video of that, right? Of something that you guys spent some time and effort and energy on and realized at the end of the day it just wasn't the right thing, correct?
Yeah, so we wrote this whole video script kind of centering around the dangers of depositing while driving, which is a huge problem in our country. And kind of, we also at the same time thought that we were like the next Steven Spielberg and, tried to up production quality and do some complex things. And so we have this clip of Joe. We got so frustrated after the opening take that we were like, forget this, we're not finishing this. And so we have a script and we have this video to show for it. And warning, there is some language. So.
But it's bleeped out, right?
Yeah, most of it's bleeped out.
Yeah. My name's Joe Nesbitt, and I'm a commercial lender at Central National Bank in Waco, Texas. As of 2 weeks ago, I'm the newly appointed Chief Officer of Product Safety. Follow me, bud. What is a Chief Officer of Product Safety, and what kind of products does a bank have that people need to be kept safe from? The answer is, I don't know. It's a relatively unexplored career path in the banking industry, but we're going to explore it. We're going to explore it like Christopher Columbus and the little brother he had that nobody knows about named Chip. Hey, new employee, welcome aboard.
Joe, I've been here 20 years.
Yeah, whatever. This is a choking hazard. Good example of something dangerous. Get that cleaned up. Safety, people, come on.
When are they going to appear on television?
Well, people ask that question. We actually did at one point try to translate something, kind of our style of humor, into a 30-second TV spot. And we actually paid somebody to film it together because I don't produce TV commercials. And when we got the rough cut back, it just didn't feel the same. I think there's a big.
What was off? What didn't?
It felt too corporate. Mm-hmm. I think if I had to describe it in one word, it didn't seem as organic. I think what makes these work is it feels kind of organic and self-aware, and I think it's hard to do that on TV. The other thing I'll add about that too is, we are so inundated with advertisements now. Like when you go read an article, you got to click down like 2 banner ads to be able to read we get so good at tuning these things out. So like if I'm watching TV, when an ad comes on, that interrupts what I set out to do. I'm there to watch that TV program. If somebody sends me, or if I see one of my friends share something on Facebook and then I make a conscious decision to click on that and then go to somebody's website to watch that, that is much more meaningful. As a marketer, that means more to me than an impression where somebody was probably playing on their phone while they were watching, Dancing with the Stars or whatever.
So TV, maybe not for the foreseeable future. You said you're posting them on YouTube. Are those widely viewed on YouTube?
Yes, so the first video that we showed was that President's Day. I think that's got like 45, 50,000 views between that and then our website video when you combine the two together.
Great.
And that's depressing when you realize that there are cats on YouTube that have like millions of views. And you're like, we actually tried, for people to watch this thing. We exerted effort. And,
right.
So.
As parting gifts, we brought cats, actually.
Yeah. Also the television, an advertisement like that would cost a few $1,000s to produce, and these costs, if you spread out the cost of the equipment, which wasn't much, over the videos that we've, and other, ways you use that, $50, $60 to produce one of these things, right? It's not much.
Yeah, once you get past the fixed costs, yes.
Yeah.
Of just having a camera.
One that I want to do and keeps driving Bryan crazy is the dogs of Central National Bank. I think probably a lot of you give out dog biscuits to dogs either in the lobby or in the drive-thru. And my office, which you could see up there, the drive-thru is out there. And you can hear stuff in the tubes. And what I hear and see are dogs barking. And I look outside and these little dogs are, spinning in circles. They've anticipated, they love going to the bank. Dogs, I'm serious, They can anticipate, if you bring your dog home from the groomer or, wherever, you get on your street, your dog knows I'm almost home, man. I know where we're going. And they know they're going to the bank, and they start freaking out. And I love it. And people love their dogs more than their children, So I think there'd be no better way than to honor, or I don't think that's the right word, but
Flatter, maybe?
to flatter, thank you. Yeah. To flatter a customer than to call them up and say, hey, we would like to feature your dog in a video, and get a bunch of them. I've even gone so far as to want to strap a GoPro camera on the back of one of them while they're just, But
And again,
anyway, I really want to do that video.
I think that, and so much of what we've talked about up here ties in again this morning to what we heard this morning about making it a unique experience for the customer and kind of differentiating. So this is really, really timely and good stuff.
What kind of camera do you use?
So we use, I actually don't like our camera anymore. So when I say this, don't go out and buy one. But we use a Canon T5i. It was like the first camera that we bought, which is
I have no
a
idea what that is. How big is it? Is it a handheld?
It's like it's a DSLR camera. So it's like, and it's like a very entry level one. You probably noticed that most of our videos, with the exception of Joe. Yeah, sorry, it's this big.
That was the treasury management in you coming out.
Yeah, sorry.
You went acronym on it.
Right. It doesn't have like a great autofocus, so if somebody's coming in and out of focal length, like it's not going to adjust quickly enough to make it work. So most of our videos, as you've seen, are very stationary, but we're probably going to upgrade that at some point.
And do you do your own editing?
We do, yeah. So I use Adobe Premiere, the Adobe Creative Suite, and I had not edited or shot a single video prior to us starting to do these. So I'm like living proof that anybody that knows how to work a computer can probably figure it out. There's so many resources on YouTube, and I'm getting super technical now, but if you're looking to get started with video for the first time, I highly recommend checking out Wistia. It's WISTIA. They have so many resources and we follow it to like a T with our lighting and our camera placement, how we record the audio, so I would definitely check them out. And they should pay me, because I say that everywhere I go. Wistia.
Editing your own videos, I think, is really important. Bryan talked about, we had one produced, and they just don't get the feel as well as you will doing your own.
Yep.
Cool.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Great question. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming down and for sharing the whole experience. It's been really, really insightful, and it's great to share a few laughs. So thank you again.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.